All right, hello and welcome back to my live stream. 9 minutes late. Sorry, guys. I was having to scramble and set everything back up, and I may have taken a nap before I started, so, But I'm refreshed, so, we gotta take the wins, right? I hope everyone's having a great evening. Happy Wednesday, May 27th. We're almost at the end of this month. I will say that the month of May feels exactly 1/4 as long as the month of April felt. So, let's just say hi to everybody in the chat. Just real quick, as the thumbnail implies, I am going to be finishing up my Catachan Colonel. I started with him last week, or started on him last week when my friend Flo was over and we were painting tattoos. She was painting tattoos and I was watching. But, so we're going to finish him up tonight and hang out and chat. So, and I want to know what everyone else is working on tonight and how you guys are all doing. Samuel, welcome. Appreciate it. Savage, welcome to the chat. Paul, thank you so much for being my moderator, as always. Let's see. Allurian, welcome. Glad to see you back. What else do we got here? Todd, welcome. I hope you're doing all right, sir. And Shale. I'm curious what project you're working on tonight. Daniel, welcome. Good evening from Ontario, Canada. Nice. Dave Dog. Hi, Dave. I'm sorry, I'm really not trying to taunt you with the Colonel. I got pretty lucky with being able to get him. But if you're a fan of mini wargaming, I know Dave was doing a giveaway earlier. I don't know if he still is. Maybe it's too late to advertise that. I don't know. Let's see here. I think that's everybody for the moment. So let's get started. Hey, Jerry, welcome. Has anyone completed anything worth discussing while we wait? Well, you don't have to wait anymore, because now we can just figure out what we're going to talk about while we paint, right? Huh? Right? Maybe? Hey, Mushy, how are you doing? Kenneth, welcome. And Spaceos, good to see you there. All right, so my progress so far is I've got the green sort of on him. Now it's interesting because the man wears a midriff, but for Catachans, it's completely cool. I only have his base skin tone on, so he really does need some highlighting to show off the manly muscles that he's got, of which they are epic. We've got to paint some, I sort of started on the base where we've got some plant life there. Weird Catachan plant life, so it's dangerous and got weird orifices, that's the word. Yeah, he's got a sweet old plasma gun, a weapon, a machete that is not part of his card at all, and a power fist. So yes, I've got a few things. I gotta paint in his face, obviously do the highlights, get the rest of the foliage painted, wash it, all of those things. So let's see here. Tonight I'll be working on Vlad and Drago. Which Vlad? 1, 2, 3? It's just 3 right now, right? Yeah. I've got 1 and 2 painted up. 3, I just couldn't justify putting together his model because at the time at least, he was really strongly an Ulan list, and I couldn't afford Khador and Ulans because they are extremely expensive and heavy because they're all pewter. But I do have 2 sets of Greylord Turnians, or not Turnians, Outriders, so go figure, right? The new 40K 9th launch, LOL. Yep. In fact, if you guys are a fan of 40K Theories with Remlays, he's got great lore channel, lots of great information, and he also does stories, like fan stories and stuff, and I've done some voice acting for him, and again, he's a super nice guy. I was on a podcast with him and Tactica Imperialis, and we discussed the predictions because it was right before the Saturday announcement, and I'm just gonna say I called it, 9th edition. It's been 3 years. Most people who go to the game store, obviously not right now, most people who go to the game store to play have 3 or 4 books, and so it seemed like appropriate that there be consolidation. I did hear rumor about there being an app, but I don't recall that as part of the announcement. I could have been ignoring it. Hi, Siobhan. I did hear, I think at one time or another in my life, that in 1998, The Undertaker threw Mankind off Hell in a Cell into the Spanish announcer table. And for the life of me, I'm honestly trying to remember whether or not I saw that happen. Because I did watch pro wrestling in the 90s, because whatever, my brothers watched it, and it was just dumb but kind of fun, and I don't know, I kind of liked it, and it is what it is. So it's possible I've seen that event, I just don't remember. Catachan Colonel is only $160 from eBay, including postage. I paid MSRP, just for the record. I did not do a huge thing on eBay scalping or sniping or whatever it's called for this. His Power Fist is awesome. It is. Vlad 2. I finished 3 and don't own 1. 1 is one of the best ones though. Well, I don't know. I haven't really played it. I don't think I've played him really since 3rd Mark 3. But Vlad 2 is pretty cool. Little Strength of Kings or whatever his thing is. Vlad 3 received a lot of extra chains for his mace. Nice. Let's see, touch-ups for Dreadnought here tonight. Getting ready for paint competition in June. Oh, nice. Well, good luck to you, sir. I'm sure you'll give him a lot of competition. I saw your existing codices will still work with 9th edition. Massive sigh of relief. Well, yeah, because with the Psychic Awakening, and then who recently got a codex? I think, well, Orcs weren't that recent, but either way, there were a bunch of things that just got releases. And so, yeah, if they were like, nah, no reason to buy those anymore, that would not be a good marketing move for them, you know? Tonight, I'm not working on anything. MacTac, I just finished working, and I'm just decompressing before going to bed. Well, I hope we can help you do that. That is certainly a valuable thing to do right before sleeping and getting some good rest. So welcome home. Hope your day was not too bad. Dave Dog, there will certainly be a 9th edition app. Details are sparse though. Okay. See, and that's one of the things I'm curious about. Like, I like Battlescribe. I think that's an extremely useful app, but if you had the proper proprietary one, theoretically they could do a lot more with it. I'm less hopeful they will. But I don't know, we'll see. War Room definitely kind of found its legs after a while, after they kind of took out some of the extraneous stuff. The Malifaux app is pretty good. The Dust app is pretty good. It crashes a fair bit on my computer, on my phone, but I have an older phone too, so. Miranda, did you watch it? I had it playing. I did. I remember you had that little tablet playing as part of one of your display boards. I do remember that, Siobhan. Yeah, they did announce an app, but some people were saying features I couldn't find anywhere online. I thought 8th just came out. 8th came out 3 years ago. It's crazy, but it's already been 3 years. And that was really a good thing for a lot of people because 7th had problems, we'll say. And I didn't really play. How much of 7th did I play? I really got back in with 8th. I learned in 5th, learned a little bit of 6th, kind of skipped 7th, and then kind of came back in 8th. And I guess I'll be here for 9th, so we'll see. Are you a night owl or a right owl? Well, Paul's a night owl if we hang out at all, because, yeah, he's 7 hours ahead. So it's, 2 in the morning every time we hang out? Morning, sweet Dr. Plastic. How are you? I've seen a few arguments on YouTube stating that Warhammer 40k is becoming less grimdark and more cartoony to appeal to a wider audience. I'm sure that's true, but, I mean, it's a universe, right, with thousands and thousands of planets under the Imperium, so I guess you can sort of explore different things with that. I mean, they started off pretty tongue-in-cheek, not taking themselves very seriously, and then started taking themselves very seriously, so maybe this is them going a little bit back more toward roots, because there's, a Saturday morning cartoon, isn't there? And then there's, these kids' comics, and the audiobook. And if they want a wider audience, it's probably just, a thing they'll have to do, you know? I've been watching IDIC Beer's channel on Necrons, and the entire thing has gone nuts. You're talking about the Psychic Awakening and the Silent King coming back, who I guess was around back when the Catachan, I never remember how to say it. I only ever read these things. The Catachan were around, and I guess he's the one who damned the Necrons, but then also saved them, so now he's going to come back, but even though he's essentially nearly as powerful as the Emperor, he's going to be a playable model, which that's where you have to say, okay, whatever, I guess. War Room's problem is loading essentially everything. It's painfully slow. Yeah, that's true. But once it's in there, the only thing that can be rough is when you have to find a rules thing, and then it has to go to the PDF for that rule and load it up, and that's more clunky, but I love the theory hammer and the theory craft you can do with a lot of those apps where you're just hanging out and you're like, I don't know, what if I put this and this together? How do they look next to each other? Because you can start to see rules interactions as they apply. I reckon 9th will be released in September. Why September, you suppose? Like, as opposed to, say, October or November, more pre-Christmas? Or do you think, like, just September is enough time to get, like, the tournament scene, like, geared up with it? Problem with 7th. What's wrong with unlimited demons? I just finished. I'm working on my new Gene Stealer Cult Acolyte Icon Ward. My goodness. Fine, time to go to bed. It's 3:50. Well, thanks for popping by for a few minutes, sweet. Get some rest. Do you know someone named Phil McCrotch? No. Seriously, I will. Will the main box set contain the new 9th edition book in full? I bet you it'll come with quick rules. If it's going to be a new box set, it'll probably have quick start rules. The real question is whether or not the app will have rules, or if it'll just be a list builder, or if there's different levels of an app that you can get which have both the list builder and all the armies and all of the rules, or if you can pick and choose. I know someone has suggested a subscription-based service, which, I don't know. I do want to own physical books, though, especially since, and this was something we talked about in the podcast with Remlays, was like, as well and good as an electronic book is for holding all of the rules and being able to look at the armies and even put together lists, it's the most clunky thing when you're trying to check a rule in the middle of a game. Like, that's when you're going to flip to a rule book and show somebody a rule book, or you have a tab in there or something where you're like, yeah, this comes up a lot, let me check, or here's my stratagems. I don't think an app will ever fully solve that problem. So everybody's going to have a book and the app anyway. It's 9 p.m. here, so I need my beauty sleep. Let's see. Hey there, waiting to walk into work. Any word on the Iron Kingdoms campaigns? Any bat reps coming soon? Really miss that content. Hope you're staying safe out there. Anthony, I really appreciate that. So far, so good. Again, New Mexico is one of the least impacted states in the country. Our governor wouldn't have you think so, but Iron Kingdoms campaigns are in the works. Talking to an illustrator, getting some stuff done there. And battle reports, yes, but there's a lot of build-up that I have to do for them because I'm doing like a story-based thing now. Because I've decided I want everything I do to be more difficult, and it slowed me down a bit more. So, yes, eventually, I promise. Hello, watch the 40K featuring you. Awesome podcast. Aw, thank you, Justicar. Let's see, it would be a good strategy. Oh dear, I missed that. To kickstart society. Let's see, a book in a few weeks, maybe a box set later. Could see that. Don't forget to press that like button. Kahneman Studios knows what he's talking about. I haven't even started painting yet. I've just been sitting here yapping for 20 minutes, but it's fun hanging out. Hey. Good evening, Kahneman. Hope you and the family are well and safe and happy. Just watched the Warhammer 40K trailer. What were those ugly robots? Their skeletal faces looked comical. Oh, those silly Necrons. What do they know? Actually, as far as Xenos goes, I kind of like Necrons. Like that interesting Egyptian vibe you get from them. And they've got a great color set, including a very New Mexico, like turquoise motif that you can put on them. I don't know, the reanimation protocol is kind of interesting. It's annoying to fight against, but it's not like so overpowered. Let's see, I've been playing 40k since the start of 3rd edition. Still have my codices. Oh my goodness, that is going to be a wonderful bookshelf at this point. Whew. That was rude, Ellie guy. It was naughty wordplay. Oh, okay. Do you guys play any big scale games? Not in person in a long time, I guess. No. Yeah, long and the short of it. I would like to get an Apocalypse game going, and I might have certain models that might only be usable in Apocalypse that might see the tabletop once I'm allowed to be in a game store again. So we'll see. You're making an Iron Kingdoms RPG thing? Yeah, I actually recorded a TV show like last year that is still in post-production. So it's happening, but it's all recorded, the whole story, the whole campaign. It's like 22 episodes. I'm really proud of it, and the actors are so good, and everybody does such a wonderful job. It's just, I have to, all the post-production stuff is like, here's illustrations of the world they're in, here's dioramas of the world they're in, because it's kind of hard to explain something like the Iron Kingdoms RPG to a world that is modestly into or modestly familiar with D&D, right? Like everybody's heard of D&D at this point, and you're like, oh, fantasy, I know what that looks like. But the Iron Kingdoms is actually a unique world, and I have to illustrate that because I honestly don't think there's really anything like it. So I don't want it to fall into that big chasm of generic fantasy in people's minds. And, you know, there's a whole lot of stuff being done by 2 people for a whole show. Turns out that's why you really kind of need a lot of people. But I don't have that, so it's working. We're working through it. It's slow, and, you know. But it'll be done eventually, and by God, everyone will know when it is. Let's see, who here started out being a GW exclusive paints puritan when it came to painting Warhammer minis, but then later realized that the Leo paints were generally better and started also painting with them? As a Warhammer goddess, I should probably play more Warhammer for that to be the case. But I do enjoy my war games. I do enjoy my Imperial Guard. To an extent, I enjoy my sisters too, but these boys get all the tanks, so there are things that you can do with an e-doc that a physical book. You can embed video clips, audio clips. Everyone should know how to pronounce a word. Yeah. Oh, all kinds of stuff. But I would still put all of that in the realm of the theory hammer. That's when you're hanging out with your friends and you're chatting about a game or future games or models you want to collect, and you can kind of pull stuff up and say, oh yeah, here, check this rule thing, because it just comes up in conversation. I think looking that up in the middle of a game is always clunky. I'm working on a 1750 point sisters force. Interesting. So do you think 1750, I mean, I assume that's the full army, or is that just all the models that you have? Do you feel like 1750 is a good balance point strength-wise for them, as opposed to, say, 2000 or 1500? The digital rulebooks are only good for me to do fast search on keywords, nothing else really. That's kind of how I use it. Anthony, well, off to work. Factory calls. Thanks, Anthony. Have a great time at work. I'm glad to haul around my Pathfinder RPG books in PDF form instead of physical books. Yeah, and even with like an RPG, it's a little bit different, because if you've memorized enough of the rules, especially if you do GM stuff, then you can kind of get by and check rules later, where you don't really want to do that in the middle of a game. So, who here remembers those weird orangutans in Warhammer that carried weapons and were a little bit cyborg? Oh yeah. How's your Reaver Titan going? It's coming along. His head isn't attached, but just needs paint, really. Let's see. Kenneth shares some photos as you progress on Miranda's Facebook page. I'd love to see your work. I'm working through some sisters myself. Where do we get to watch the RPG show when it's done? It should be on my channel. Unless something changes with that. To be determined, but most likely on my channel. I agree. I think you have it on a computer, tablet, phone's just not conductive, and your battery life just dies instantly, basically, other than. They will have a free blade night following them. Ooh, fancy. Nice, you just won that model from my FLGS. Still have to pay for it, though. Oh, like you won the right to buy it? I mean, I guess the store only got, what, 3 or 4? I think I suggested you doing an Iron Kingdoms RPG one-off for patrons like years ago, like 2015. Now it's being done, but bigger. Yeah, that'd be interesting to do a live show. I don't know. I watched like DM Scotty do it, and he's got this amazing role to him, and you know Andrew from Downforge Cast, and a lot of people who are used to running games. And I ran a bunch of games at this point, but I always get nervous in the idea of like having to do this in this live format, because I've been on the internet long enough to know that there's always people that are gonna be like, you did that wrong. Be fair, and as a GM, you're like, I never do anything wrong, but sometimes the fight is just tiresome. They get tanks, but they don't have a cathedral stained glass window tanks. That is true, Illyrian. The window on the immolator is a clear piece, trying to figure out how to stain the colors. Oh. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I feel like the technical paints, maybe, because they have sort of a clear washiness to it, or glazes. I don't know, because you have to separate it out a bit. Are you gonna, if it's just a clear piece, are you drawing in like the breaks in the stained glass, an image or any of that? That's so fancy. It's limited box set, 3 limited. Oh, jeez. Polys have the original D&D paints. First, Ralpartha, Hide the Pain, Slime 2. They're both awesome things. That's all the models I got. Fair enough, sir. I use GW Citadel paints. Haven't branched out to any other line. With over 120 paints in my personal collection, I've invested a few $100s into them. My goodness. You know, if it works for you. I am obviously a lot less picky about my paints. I'm also super glad that I have the picture here, because I'm also not terribly original about how I'm going to paint all this up. And I like the way this guy's painted with his sweet old mustache, although you look at his face, he's actually clean shaven. Like, I'm going to have to invent a mustache on his face. It's weird. Should start. Well, the head will have to be recalled for factory remanufacturing. Yes. Pardon you, the Kador Queen. Oh, I've been, gosh, even the last time I played War Machine, I played Grimkin, to be honest. Well, that's not weird. So it's a clear window with like iron divider details molded on. I have a few clear paints, but those clear paints don't normally take to them well. I'll let you know when I do it. Ooh, yeah. Try contrast paints, but always use one thin coat. Any paints you fancy over others? Just the ones that work. I mean, I am legitimately as unpicky about paints as it's possible to be. Just doesn't, like, I guess skin tone paints I find better to stick with something like a Vallejo or something like a Citadel, just because it's such a small detail part of the model that you don't really want to see grain, which you'll generally see with more of the craft paints. But even then I've made exceptions. I'm just, yeah. Now, washes, I don't mess around. A wash is a different story, and I do use GW washes. That said, I haven't actually tried other washes as much. I have, like, some of the weird craft patinas and wasn't a copper, it was like a, I mean, it kind of was, but, so kind of washes like that, like when I painted my little, what is it called? The thing. I had a wagon, I had a horse-drawn wagon I was painting up, and I decided that the roof would be copper. And so I used this patina over it, which looked pretty good, but generally speaking, I will use GW washes. They basically make all of the other paints look so much better. And it does a lot to even hide grain lines and, you know, that texture you might unintentionally end up with when using a craft paint. But, yeah. And I guess I do wash all my models, you know, for hygiene. I use Army Painter kind of exclusively, mostly because I bought a huge box of them and not wanted any colors or finishes. Oh, fair enough. We're talking about contrast for stained windows or washes to ply. We were talking about the stained glass. Contrast paints have worked well. Oh, Mashi, thank you for the super chat. EQ or Dune server live. Good night. Take care, sir. GW have improved their recipe a lot in recent years. You're not really missing out except for dropper bottles. Trying to figure out the color scheme for my sisters. Do you generally take a lot of lore inspiration? Are you going with, say, the Order of Our Martyred Lady or the Order of the Valorious Heart? Like any of those specific orders? Or are you making your own? Clear paints for Immolator Stained Glass. Reaper makes them. Tamaya, I think Vallejo does. Like that time you had to drive across town to specifically buy Gene Stealer Purple. Yes, that was a 45-minute drive each way, good sir. Like 40 minutes, whatever. It was a long, long drive. Armor painter washes, for whatever reason, come out super glossy. So I guess you would want that in a glass thing then. Miranda, if you're going to paint his flesh, start with a dark leather and a flesh, and I had flesh to it, lighting up the dual layer by layer. So yeah, I think I know what you're saying. So I've got which color did I go with? This burnt umber as his base. And so I figured I can probably do something like more of the nutmeg brown to dry brush a highlight over him with. But I don't know if I should necessarily mix that with the burnt umber and create an in-between color. That kind of sounds like a lot of work, but I don't know if it would look better that way or if it would be a waste of time. There's no shame in using different paints as long as they can be watered down to negate the thick crackling effect, not on purpose. I use them as long as you're consistent. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it means a lore heavy. Every army I own follows lore except my Tyranids. Oh yeah? Interesting. I mean, it's such a huge part of making the story worth following, right? Let's see. So we've got these weird reddish colors happening on the plants. Do I have a red that I want? Ugh. How about this? Let's try a deep burgundy. Paint these leaves up while I figure out what I'm going to do with the skin. Yeah, there we go. Warehouse barn. Aw, thank you. Keep it up. I will, good sir. It's funny because some days when I get home, I'm actually just sort of super tired and burnt out. I'm like, do I even want to do a show? I just want to go to bed or play Warcraft or like sit and watch a movie. It's like, no, I should do this. And then every time I do, I'm like, I'm so happy I did that. It's so fun. It's like, I mean, I don't know if it's a habit for other people, but like if you go to the gym or you have an exercise routine, you're like, I could just blow it off. But you're always happy that you did it. So, I don't know. It's a weird thing for me. I mean, and it's not like I'm not going to end up like messing around after the live show. Although I don't know if we'll get on World of Warcraft. I keep debating because I've also been working on some cosplay stuff that I keep wanting to go back to. And then, yeah, I don't know. I'm just babbling, sorry. Oh, this is like a green goo on that leaf. So, sort of paint in his leaves, just really, really deeply. If you want to do stained glass, use Timaya clear tints. Freaking awesome. Nice. Yeah, I've used those for military light jets and Eldar canopies. I just need to buy a few colors. Well, that's pretty neat. We'll make this little weird tongue thingy sticking out red too. Just because this is obviously a World of Catachan plant. It's like a take on one of those carnivorous plants, I guess. Maybe? I don't know. Bleh. This burgundy's perfect though. I've gotten so used to just passively buying colors over the years that I kind of managed to find most of them, unless I'm looking for really light colors or pastels or something. I don't seem to have those. Hence when I have to drive across town to buy Jean Stiller purple. But you know what? I don't see any purple on this model, Paul. Just saying. Grossness. Not used to actually painting plant life, so apologize if all of this ends up looking terrible. We'll see. Use your burn number and add flesh tones. Oh, burnt ember and add flesh tones to it if it looks a little bit wrong. A little bit of sienna. Okay, going to call it a night. Hope that everyone has a great night/day. Night, Catachan. Get your beauty rest. That carnivorous plant should have some purple in it. Anybody have any thoughts on rattlings? I was gifted a few boxes. Don't know how to fit them in. Maybe kill team? Sure you can work in a tiny dot of purple somewhere. Oh my gosh. I'll think about it. Rattlings. So is that Age of Sigmar at this point? I'm trying to remember. Because I always deal with them in Vermintide, but I never really played Fantasy, and I don't really play Age of Sigmar, and don't recall seeing. Well, yeah, Skaven are totally Fantasy. Yeah. Make them part of fun dioramas for other models. Okay, let's see here. Got a little bit of detail here. I'm really looking forward to being able to return to in-person RPG night. I had to pause my IKRPG game because of quarantine and move to a more Zoom Discord-friendly system. Does that end up working out? Like, because I know DM Scotty was using Zoom, but then I know a lot of people have done like the tabletop simulator stuff, and so I didn't know if tabletop simulator was, I mean, it's awkward, it's not ideal, but if it ends up being kind of a good option, just curious. Let's see, that strap's gonna go on later. That is pretty green. I need to fix up the green. Wearing, I used Timaya, Yamaha green, and white on the Titan. Came out awesome for my customer. Hey, nice. And Strachan won't have any purple that's being sent to you unpainted. Well, maybe Strachan can have some purple. We'll see. We'll see, okay? So funny knowing Paul from sort of highlighted just through the course of us like yapping to each other a lot through Discord or whatever, how like I just didn't really own purple as a color at all. So it's kind of just a funny realization. All right, so really I'm just touching up these. I'm desperately trying not to stick my brush in the wrong paint lid. That would be bad. Alright. Touch that up. Anything else need to be touched up? Yeah, we do. We need to get some green on his shoulders. That's appropriate. Oh, kind of a bit of him I missed. I think a lot of his stuff is metal, but a fair bit of it is also green. So best to err that direction where possible. It's a really nicely done model though. And I believe he sits in as an HQ unit, so I have a few different types on the board, which will be fun. There we go. Alright. Green generally on him pretty well. That's supposed to be metal. I'm gonna have to repaint his skin in there. And make sure his pants are green. It's a little confusing on the back because the front of him, again, you can see his stomach, but on the back side, he's got this armor plate that goes the entire way down his back. No, don't focus on the Citadel paints, focus on him. And so, with what's going on there, you know, obviously it's not just skin the way it is in the front. So, fine. Figure it out. Painting ratlings are easy. Just use a yellow, the dry brush of a darker yellow, then wash with Recklin Flesh Shade, Sepia, or Earth Shades. Zoom Discord means we do more Theater of the Mind systems. I've been running L5R 3rd edition, mostly because it's the version I know best. Fair enough. Oh, interesting. It's like this weird bloom in there of this green. I'm gonna try it. War Table is great now. Warmer Hordes is live. Played it 3 or 4 times. Just jump on Skype/Zoom. Nice for trying lists you don't own too. We have all that. We all have that friend that is unhappy with us proxying. No. Interesting. War Table? I really don't know what you're talking about. Alright, I'm just kind of diluting some of this paint a bit and gonna put a little center bloom of green in the middle of this to look like stuff is happening. I don't know, this might end up terrible. didn't let the brush be so wet. There we go. Let's get a little bit thicker. A little thicker. It's kind of cool, so it goes from a green to this red on the outer edge. Kind of digging that look a little bit, you know? Maybe focus. Focus. So that was me just using my Castellan, Castellan green. As a light line into the model. So funny, years ago I wouldn't have messed with any of this. Everything would have essentially been a paint by numbers, no blending, no nothing. Just gotten so much more wizened. And I guess in a way less picky. That sergeant is wearing a flak jacket. Oh, okay, that makes sense. It doesn't seem useful in the front, but okay. Making sure 2 full units of pikemen are always base to base is a bit frustrating. Oh, at that point you should just mark intention. Just say, this is supposed to be this way. Because that's what I'd always have to do in War Machine, because of course I'd run Man of War, and their models are like as dramatically posed as ridiculously possible on a, 40 mil base for those? Yeah, it was 40, 50, yeah. So 40 mil base on those guys because they're medium-based infantry, and it was awful trying to get them base to base because you also have to worry about facing, and so they're too wide for their base, and so I would just sort of squish them together and say, they're all facing forward and they're all base to base. Do you agree? And so it is just said out loud so that contract, the agreement's there, right? The Phantom was my favorite superhero kit. As a kid, that's where my love of purple came from. What? Really? Oh. Hey, Villain Retro. The Phantom definitely rocked his purple uniform. Randy, you can always paint some purple polka dots on your plans. That's true. Want to hear a joke? Do I? I'll say that 5 times fast. Paint some purple polka dots on your plants. Put some purple polka dots on your plans. Put some purple polka dots on your plans. Maybe. That's why his tummy's showing, the back's covered in armor, which makes sense. Hey, Chris. Flak jacket protection on the back because cool guys don't look at explosions. Brian, you got a dog? What kind of dog? I want to know. Congratulations. Family's grown. I miss having a dog. Not enough to get one, but it was nice. Alright, I'm gonna relayer, just touch up a little bit of that green because it almost looks a little too translucent. And so I want it to be a touch, a smidge stronger. Okay, great. Now what else can I do here? I bet, oh gosh, it's weird. This plant has teeth. This plant legitimately has teeth. I can give it purple mouth. There you go. For you, Paul. For you. I don't know where my purple is, though. Well, congratulations to Brian. It's very exciting for having a dog. That's exciting. I don't know why I'd look at any of these. None of them exist. did find it. Here's the thing I drove 40 minutes across town each way for. Oh, it can focus. There we go. That $7 I spent for you, so. Oh, does anybody remember Maker's Mart, one of the biggest wargaming mail order places in America? Mailer's Mart? I know War Games West, but I don't know Mailer's Mart. Thank you, Purple. It's an 8-year-old German Shepherd pit bull mix named Zero from Nightmare Before Christmas. It's so wonderful. So it's a rescue then. German Shepherd pit bull. Interesting. Do you have him posted on Instagram? I want to go see your puppy. What's up, y'all? Hey, Conan, how you doing? German Shepherd pit bull probably is pretty cool. All right, let's throw some purple on this thing. Look at that! Look at that shiny, goopy, Gene Stealer looking color. We are going to have to use super tiny brush because this is right in the center there. So we're just going to do our best here with my little 00 bomb wick out of Prime Synthetic Kolinsky. Synthetic Kolinsky, which means no weasels were killed in the making of this brush. Look at that. Alright, it's pretty bright purple, so I'm hopeful that it'll get knocked down a bit with the wash. Is she trying to make you feel guilty, Paul? He doesn't feel guilty. It's like a 75-pound muscular sweetheart. Because of Verona, I can't play War Machine, so now I'm looking at other war games I could collect and paint in the interim. Not like I don't have 300 unpainted models anyway. What is that meme with Morgan Freeman saying, like, he never painted the miniatures after people talking about how once they had time? Miniature Market is my go-to tabletop website. Everything is always cheaper there somehow. They've got really good service too. Miranda, you could have mixed blue and red and got your own purple. I could have. But this is a pot already full of purple. They closed down because the owner, I was getting old timers. Awesome owner. I painted his catalog in the 80s? Really? Very nice. Yep, we didn't name him, but we love the name. Eleanor and huge NBC fans. Yeah. Not a rescue. Owner, a friend, moving to England, and they euthanize pits there. Oh my gosh. Just, like, pit bulls are not allowed to exist in England? That seems horrible. Jeez. Like, I needed more reasons not to like England. No. England's probably fine. Even though my dad fled there. Man. Well, I hope he's happy. Alright, so I'm just trying to get the edges. So basically, like, the plant has this purple, I guess purple lips, essentially, because, again, it's got teeth. It's got a little bit of a sarlacc thing going on here. So, we'll just go with it. Just lean into it. Oh, look, and a little tentacle to go with it. Isn't that just charming? You know, it'll actually work out kind of nice because when I do paint the teeth on here, it should create a pretty sharp contrast against this really deep purple. And so I think that'll look all right. Ooh. In some places they're considered dangerous animals. It's not allowed in Denver either. Have to get special dispensation, which they can't get. Dangerous dogs list. Huh. Your cat is weird. You gonna feed me, Simon? Nice. I mean, I don't know. There's obviously there's a lot of pit bull culture here in New Mexico specifically, and it's twofold. There's a lot of people who just love pit bulls because, as a natural tendency, they are, you know, protective family member pets. It's just there's also like that awful underbelly side of it where people fight with them, and you never can tell. And a lot of pits here are rescues from that environment. But I always felt bad because it's like, you know, they get such a bad rap, you know. I think Staffordshire Terriers, which are very similar, are allowed though. Hello from England. Hi, Jason. All this talk of carnivorous little plants with lips and no Little Shop of Horrors references. No, I think Space Wolf's got you there. Yeah. Feed me. Discovering how small Reaper detail brushes are. Wow, can paint the rune armor on a Farseer with no accidents. Yeah, nice. Dogs aren't dangerous, people are. Yeah. Anything with teeth is dangerous. Like little children. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, little camera and people inside of it. Alright, bleach sand. We need that nice bone teethy color. Yep, let's do this. So this is it with this little purple bloom in there. It should focus here shortly. And then we'll see it with the little teeth. And that should make things a little better. Especially hamsters. Evil. Pit bulls get a bad rap for being used in fighting rings, but somehow Pokemon get away with it. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna be started on Pokemon. There's so much like philosophically confused about Pokemon. They're like, I don't know, it's fun. They're all having fun, right? You're like, eh. But whatever. We've all watched those cartoons and stuff that you couldn't make now, but it all gets a pass for being of its time or whatever. Alright, well this plant it's got some personality going on now. That's for sure. I'm glad he's just stepping over this thing with no concern whatsoever. It's making this Catachan Colonel look even more like a tough guy. There we go. Now again, the wash will normalize it a bit, but now it's got teeth. That teeth. It is, yeah. It's like if you step in it, it's going to take your shoe. Have fun, Chad. Going to spend the evening socially distanced with my family. Well, have a good night, Warehouse. Appreciate you coming by. Yeah, I gather when my friend got him at 8 months, it was from a crazy drug dealer house. Love it. Well, I'm glad that the dog has a better life. have you got or have others in the pipeline with you doing something with mini wargaming or with gaming with the cooler? Nothing lined up so far that I'm aware of. Sometimes I just get a random phone call and they're like, hey, I want to do this thing. And, you know, of course it's yes, but that hasn't happened in a while. And originally I was even going to go up to Welland, Ontario, provided the apocalypse sort of didn't happen, because we were looking at doing a Valhalla up at the mini wargaming bunker, but all that didn't happen, because we probably would have done like a life of a wargamer up there or something. That would have been fun. Yeah, we'll see who gets to come out. What are your favorite Warhammer models aesthetically, and which do you enjoy painting the most? Those two don't have to be exclusive. So oddly, I don't really play Space Marines, but Space Marines are oddly fun to paint. Like, there's just something about the rounded shapes of them, and they're, at least Primaris, I guess, they're a little bigger, right? And so they've got this Mega Man kind of feel to it where you can do a lot of block colors, and I think they're really easy and approachable that way, so I found them oddly fun. I have had fun painting my Catachans too, because you can just be ridiculous with it. Like, again, my friend was over last week and she's painting tattoos on my models. But it totally makes sense, because, yeah, they're Catachan. They're just big, tough guys. Of course they're going to have tattoos. And, you know, you're putting washes on and showing up or making all of their muscles very obvious and stuff. And, like, dumb things entertain me, I guess, when it comes to that. Because I'm like, oh, yeah, look at all those muscles, teehee. Or, oh, wow, I really like the way I painted this guy's eyebrows. I like painting faces the most. Like, I really enjoy painting faces. So, generally, no helmet versus helmet is preferred for me. But those are sort of just general elements of something. Some of my favorite models are things like Vendettas, Valkyries, Marauders, Stormlords. But I'm completely intimidated to paint them because they're these huge panels that you'll see brush strokes on. And I'm not an airbrusher, so it ends up being very intimidating for them. I love those models. I love Titans, but there's just so much surface area that I'm unlikely to paint them. So I hope that answers your question. I only know one dude in England currently, a comic artist, Chris Weston. Great guy. Nice. Biker Mice from Mars. Now there was a show. I vaguely remember that show. Everyone has pocket monsters with AP2 teeth. I missed the tattoos on the model. How'd they turn out? I think I've got a few I can show you. Let's see, some of my favorites. I put it on my Instagram too, but and Flo painted all of these. So just so you know, but you know, like on this guy, he's got a Punisher tattoo, and I got, again, better pictures on the Instagram, but you can kind of see how his tattoo came out. And I think he actually is one of the best looking. I got this guy, and it's really hard to tell because I really liked it. She went with this tribal tattoo on him, but he's, you know, obviously he's got a very dark skin already, and then the tattoo is black, and so it can be kind of hard to tell. I'm hoping when I finally get a matte spray on him, it will be more obvious, but you can kind of see some tribal marks that go up onto his back. And then, got this dude who has a tattoo on both sides. So, of course, we have the Aquila on one side. And then he's got a little heart with a ribbon across it, and it's probably just too tiny to read, but it says Mom, because, you know, he loves his mom, and he loves the Emperor. So, you know, that totally makes sense. So that's a few of them. That's one dude as well. So we got this guy too, who's another leader, you know, whatever. And he's got a tattoo on his back, a little skull, with flowers as the crossbones, but really hard to tell from a shiny, not great exposure camera. Ooh, Ontario. Right, have you ever seen the patches Games Workshop came out with? Imperial and Koala? And the Space Wolf patch? No. Cyber Dragon, welcome! I tried Necromunda as a kid, and my first model looked like it was painted by a 2-year-old fueled on blue Skittles, given a paintbrush and blindfolded. Just got into War Machine. Maybe Khador. In May. Khador, obviously. They're the best choice. Gonna need a lot of paint. For the Titans and bigger vehicles, yep. I'm exceptionally skilled at painting eyes. Oh, thank you. The first trick is painting them straight, and then everybody sort of forgives the rest of it, because half the time they look a little bit like lizard eyes because I do a slit rather than a dot, but it seems to work out well. It's so tiny, like, can't tell. I think the word you're looking for is dynamic, Catachans. My brother airbrushed, I never got the hang of it. More of a rattle can guy. Yeah, us too. Dear Vlad, how do you walk in those pointy clown shoes? With authority, I would imagine. Only ever attempted eyes after seeing Miranda paint them. How did you feel about that, Paul? So what do you guys think? Should I paint my Primaris Reavers for Kill Team as Space Wolves or Ultra Smurfs? I'm doing the other Primaris from Dark Imperium as Ultramarines, and then I have a small Space Wolf army. Well, if you, what are you more likely to play? I wish more companies put out patches. I have some Guild Ball ones and the Grimkin patch they had way back then. Way back when, yes. So you're probably gonna get a lot of love for Space Wolves because everybody loves the Space Vikings. And they're fine, you know, there's nothing wrong with them. Yeah, so take that for what you will. Alternatively, you know, Ultramarines kind of cool. See, so I am evidently like somewhat ignorant of all the hate that Ultramarines get, because whenever I look at them, I'm like, I don't know, these guys seem fine. And, you know, Space Wolves are fine, but they're just, you know, biker wolf guys, and they really sort of adopted more of the lupine stuff later. So they're totally fine. I don't understand the hate to Ultramarines. And Robot Gilliman, he seems nice. Alright. So the idea is this servo skull at the top is actually going to be brown, but he's going to be dry brushed up to a skull color. So he has a little bit of grime going on, you know, as if it's a dirty skull. Because I would say that the 41st Millennium is fairly gritty, actually. And while I've got this nutmeg brown, I'm gonna touch up all these little blotches and stuff I missed. Yeah. This guy is actually pretty fun and relaxing to paint. All these little different elements you can kind of mess with. You don't have to be stuck on one piece for a long time. Which I guess is the other thing that is intimidating about something like a Titan or massive tank. Because each individual aspect of the model takes a long time. Especially when you watch people pull out the really fancy stuff and they start camoing the models. Oh, more power to them, but wow. There we go. And getting the brush into all the spots you need to get to can always be a little bit tricky, especially when you're obsessed with assembling the model completely. Whatever. Alright, he's looking like something. Apparently he's got a vine, though. I need to get that vine painted up. What color should the vine be? Is there anything obvious about it? I guess it can be green. Maybe it's a green vine. We'll say it's green. My hands shake too much to get eyes to look good. Definitely can be tough. Felt more confident trying them after seeing how you do them. Oh, good. I was looking at some of the old Wolves paint schemes from 30K and I may do them more like that. Less blue and more gray. Which model do you recall has been the most difficult to put together? It's an interesting question. I can think of a few that have been kind of annoying. Like most recently, my clockatrice was a little tricky. Is he out? This guy was a little tricky to assemble because each of his legs is its own separate part. And you have to basically put both legs on at the same time, even if you only glue one at a time, just so he stands correctly on the base. Because, you know, once that's locked in, then however upright or bent over or anything he is will be permanent. And so that could be tricky, and you're kind of messing with it being very wobbly as it sits on the base, trying to get the legs to sit just right. So that kind of stuff can be really tricky. I don't think I've ever had to like break apart a model though, because I biffed it. Some of them just have so many fiddly bits though. I'm trying to think of, because even the clockatrice, like some of his little mohawk hairs need to be individually glued on. I think I had to do that with 2 of them. And then, gosh, that was a recent one. I'm trying to think of what else is particularly intimidating. Because even when you look at resin models, there's a lot of pieces to them, but they generally fit fine. Old Witch and Scrapjack, like Old Witch 1, Scrapjack is was not designed to exist in a realm with actual physics because of the way he stands on one leg, and there's this teeny tiny little contact point for the rest of his body on this thin like knee that he sits on, and he had to be JB welded because I don't know anything about pinning, but JB weld works too. So that one was kind of a tricky one, but it was more just frustration with the model design. And then it was solved, so there's that. I just love the Space Wolf lore, especially as they become more Viking-like lately. But I love the way the new Primaris look in blue, my favorite color. It's fair. So wonderful. Pretend to do some work. Thanks, Rory. I appreciate you coming by. Miranda, don't you badmouth Space Wolves. I started with Row Trader with them, and I haven't left. I still have the original Lehman Russ figure. Nice. No, Space Wolves are fine. It's just funny to see them originally where they just look like dudes to now where they're very, very Viking-like. Like they've really found their look. Inquisitor Greyfax, easily stupid tiny parts, so many of them for just one model. Yeah, I didn't have to put her together. Could always have the best chapter, the Imperial Fists. Ooh, and Space Wolves. I think we all know where he stands on his preference. But yeah, he posts some really good stuff to my Facebook. Purple Vine. Really? Really? You think it needs to be purple? Wouldn't that be weird against all of the other colors going on here? Like, I feel like that's gonna get a little too color happy. Like, I think this purple is enough. I feel like any more and we're just gonna be abusing the purple. Most difficult to assemble for me was the old all-metal Penitent engine for Sisters. There was absolutely no way it supported itself under its own weight without green stuff. Any model that has multiple parts, arms, legs, weapons that you have to hold all at once while gluing. Mantic Enforcers come to mind. Some of the old metal War Machine jacks. Actually, my old Drago model, I ended up making him lean too far forward because of the way I was assembling him, and I mean, I wasn't going to break it apart, so he just looks like he's charging you and going to, like, stab you with his horn or something. Yeah, fiddly bits are damn hard. Like Malignants, Old Witch and Scrapjacks, even Skeletons. I was looking at that photo of the new Necrons, and the Satan guy looks to be crazy hard to assemble with the swirly cloak. I want to say, if we're looking at the same model, is that supposed to be like some sort of enslaved Satan? Like, it seemed like a weird thing. I own a Necron I've repaired so much, it's more pins than model. It's a model I wanted to keep. On average, how often do you curse when putting a model together in frustration? I remember having Tourette's when putting together a Yinkarn. The only time I would end up really kind of going nuts on that, most likely, would be if I ended up gluing something wrong and would have to take it apart. For the most part, I'm sort of like, oh, please hold together. You got it. Yep, you're fine. Like, I try to be encouraging as if somehow that's going to help it. So, as far as assembling goes. And for the most part, like, painting, I don't know. These aren't the things that make me angry and make me rage. For the most part, that's more related to playing the game and rolling ones multiple times. Over and over and over and over. As Paul could note from we did an actual game of Kill Team on Tabletop Simulator. And he got to watch my glorious ability to roll ones. It was... I guess he heard me swear a few times, actually. So there you go. I'm more of a gameplay swearer than a modeling hobbyist swearer. That makes sense. Alright, I have definitely taken my time on this model. I mean, I don't feel bad. It's not like I'm able to get another one. So, just gonna let that work. Yeah, I think that's fine. There we go. Alright, so we got some green there. Gotta get its khaki loincloth thing painted too. Purple color abuse is not a good thing. That's right. Gotta be really, reserved in your strong color use. On average, painting won't stop the coronavirus. I mean, I guess not. Some Alpha models were hard because they were so small and thin. I lost one guy's leg for like a month when it fell off the table because I couldn't hold on to it. Ooh, that's frustrating. Yeah, I could see that being really annoying. Miranda, do you have the female commissar the Games Workshop came out with? No. I saw her in the game store, I held her in my hand, and I looked at it and I said, I am not paying $35 for this. Paid $35 for him, I get that. I mean, it's different because he feels more like an action hero to me, and I don't know, it just makes me happy. The Catachan, or not the Catachan, but just the General Commissar, actually looked okay, but I wasn't getting like a strong vibe of personality, and additionally, I already have a couple of female commissars from Raging Heroes, and I really like them a lot better, so I didn't get her. I only cuss when I glue my fingers to the model. Yes. How big is your pile of unpainted models? Confess your shame. Nope. Not gonna tell anybody that one, because it's a lot. Let's see if I can dry brush with this. Surely. See if I can get the skull. I'm gonna go work on the skull randomly now. It seem ready for that. But yeah, the pile of shame is real because there's multiple games, multiple armies. It's a lot. And it's just, yeah. I can only pawn so much off onto flow. Alright, so this is me definitely being a little happy on the dry brush, but it's kind of doing what I want anyway. And getting that skull brightened up, I guess. There we go. So now he has a white servo skull up there, but it's got a little something else going on, and the eyes are, you know, there's grit in there, I guess. It's not just a white skull, you know. Rolling all the ones. What do you recall? Is your worst rolling in any game? I don't know, it happens regularly. I mean, I've definitely had like whiff turns where nothing hit anything. And I'm talking about needing just average rolls of like 5s and 6s, 6s and 7s maybe, and just armies of whiffs, like 2s and 3s out the wazoo. Hated it. When did you switch from wargaming videos to paint and chat? Linked your Space Hulk game videos. I recently found a 4th edition copy and your video gameplay was helpful. Sorry if you have post. Jeremy, thank you. I'm glad you like the Space Hulk videos. You know, I do need to get more of those out. It's just the first 2 are the easiest games, because once you go into the higher level games in Space Hulk, as you get into the different chapters, the map becomes a lot more exotic and big, and space and time ended up becoming a bit of an issue. And I've solved the first of those problems, but I need to get my friends over to kind of practice and play Space Hulk again, and then record some more of those. They're a beast to edit is the other thing, and you know, because we try to shoot it as dramatically as possible. It's got this black velvet underlining. We marked the edge of all of the board pieces so that it all faded into black and you didn't see any of the cardboard. Like, a lot of work went into designing that, and it ends up just being kind of an exhausting endeavor. And so the higher missions just end up taking a long time, and so it's just like, gotta build ourselves up to it. And then it's like, oh well, are we doing that? Are we doing 40k? Are we doing Iron Kingdoms? Are we doing War Machine? Are we doing some Dust? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that keeps demanding my attention, and I kind of keep pulling them around a lot. But I'm glad we found them helpful. I got a female commissar, and that kit sucked, to be honest. Resin that I needed to gap fill. A whole lot? Really? Oh, that's horrible. My worst roll was needing 1 damage roll to kill a model. 3 dice, wounding on 2s, and I got 1, 1, 1. Yes. Not to worry, your unpainted shame, heretic. I have over 2,000 unpainted miniatures. Worst part is that I keep sculpting new ones. The dice gods be fickle. Funny though. Woohoo, Viper Tahoe's here. Hey, Viper. Just in time for us to be sort of leaving. Do you have Slime Marvo? No. No, I haven't gotten him yet. I'm debating whether or not I need to. Because I think is it him or Strachan in Kill Team Elites? Can't remember now. Aw, thank you, Battle Scars. I appreciate that. Come on, Miranda, you could tell the truth on how many unpainted models. Are probably close to 700 to 1,000. That includes historical miniatures. I'm probably right around that number, to be honest, because again, it's multiple games, and I've been given like a fair bit of miniatures. Like Privateers hooked me up, and Corvus Belli's hooked me up, and they've all been very, very nice. And they're like, "Hey, do this. Maybe you can do a review." And I'm like, "I will try." And yeah, so I have a lot of stuff from that, which is great because theoretically I have a lot to pull from for like the IKRPG stuff. It's just everything needs to get built, and assembling a model is fine, but you're taking it out, you're making sure you have all the pieces, you're cleaning them, you're assembling them, then you're priming, then the painting starts, and that's not the fastest, especially if you're me. So there's a lot. Yeah, it's probably right around that number. My goodness, what a thought. Space Hulk videos are really cool. Your miniatures look great as well. That was actually the two different people who painted those miniatures, and I was neither one of those people. But Flo was one of them. So yeah, they came out really well. Yes, more Space Hulk, huh? I have at least a couple thousand, maybe twice that, maybe a third are painted. Oh, wow. What got you into tabletop games? Boys. I don't know, just friends I had that played it, and I thought it was cool, and you know, I always grown up playing video games and being part of that crowd, and playing video games in the 90s actually wasn't as common as as it came to be in like the 2000s and later. And so, was it 2004, 2005, something like that? I learned about all the miniatures, and I didn't know about them as a kid, and I felt kind of like left out. And so then I dived into that, and it was War Machine and the steampunk, and I liked the really cool aesthetic of Khador and Sisters of Battle, and I liked the way they looked, and then I liked Titans and all the big robots, and then that brought me back to War Machine because big stompy robots, and yeah, it was the whole thing. When you paint the skulls, add a tinge of yellow to your white. You know, that is what Seraphim Sepia is for. I think that'll do it for me right there. That's my feeling on it. The most epic moment, GW tournament decades ago in Maryland. Early game, Goblin fanatics come out on competitors' charge. One hit, then all 6 of them come back on my Black Orcs and Goblin Archers. I have 10,000, I assume, points in unpainted orcs. Oh my gosh. The pile of shame is down to a few hundred. Primaris Blood Angels, a few Signar, but it's Slanesh demons. I managed to get myself an army painter mega paint set and some primers. Haven't gotten much done yet, but I've based a bunch of stuff. Basing is important, and getting like a few base colors on. That was sort of my trick for a long time, especially when I was trying to get ready for tournaments and I didn't have time to really paint a lot. But I wanted them to look painted. Get the base done, you throw on some base colors like skin tone, metal is metal, and you're done. Oh man, get away with a lot. Sitting pretty good, just preparing to do some big projects of Space Wolf Army, Parade Showcase, and maybe a hint of D&D plus Age of Sigmar. Wasn't pretty, but late game my Doom Diver did direct hit on a Bretonnian Warlord and HQ. Max damage and kills for the win and trophy. God bless Green. Dylan's looking good, isn't he though? Started my War Machine because of Miranda. Aw, I love that. And you still play though? Like, you like Mark III? Pile of Shame is really a pile of I don't feel confident enough yet and I don't want to ruin these teams I really like. Aw. Just do little bits at a time, like, you know, basing or something like that, maybe? Have you played Adeptus Titanicus? No. They're a little too small for me. That's why I couldn't play Drop Zone Commander. It's why I can't play most historical games. Like, it's like, it needs to be at least 28 mil scale, I think. I don't know. Maybe that'll change, but I haven't. And I've, you know, there's a guy at the game store who's really into it and he has all the armies and has been totally willing to show me how to play it, but I don't know. I couldn't get excited about it. I've got more 90% done painted versus unpainted. Need to finish things off. For those 10k orcs, use the new contrast paints. That'll get them done quick. Believe me, it's daunting, but being dauntless takes physical, mental, and hard work. Still play when I can. Fair enough. It's a pile of potential. I like the way you think, Janola. You know what's up. Okay, guys, I know I started late, but I'm still gonna probably call it here. This is my progress on Dylan tonight. I didn't even get around to like messing with his skin, but the rest of the base is fairly painted, and I need to paint his loincloth and, you know, his binoculars and stuff. But the skull's painted, I've touched up the green. I mostly hung around chatting and yapping about 40k. I am excited for 9th edition. I really hope that they clean up some stuff. I like the blast rule where the blast weapons or whatever hit maximum casualties. I like that. I love the fact that tanks can finally fire in melee. So, you know, we're hoping for some good rules and some exciting stuff to come. We'll see what happens with it. Oh. Have you ever done the thing where you're not paying attention and accidentally drink of your dirty paint pot instead of your drinking cup? No, actually, so far, no. I have almost put my paintbrush in the wrong drink, but have yet to actually do it. For whatever reason, as bad as I am at paying attention to things, I have not managed to do that. So anyway, thank you guys for hanging out. I appreciate, you guys staying up late and hopefully chilling out after work, middle of the week stuff, take the time, relax, decompress. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and hopefully we'll see you next time, okay? Have a good one. Stay safe out there.